Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Join us every Tuesday. We go live at 4 o'clock Eastern and 3 o'clock Central Time here on the channel. You don't want to miss that. All right, let's take a look at all 30 of the Bears free agents as the Super Bowl is now over. Free agency, the next major date on the calendar. That, of course, won't get going until March, but teams can re-sign their own free agents whenever they want. All right, Mitchell Trubisky. We'll start with quarterbacks. He's the lone free agent because Tyler Bray was a practice squad guy, so he does not count. We know Trubisky's set to enter free agency after 4 years. We knew that once the Bears declined his fifth-year option. The expectation is that both parties will part ways. I don't see an avenue in which the Bears re-sign Mitchell Trubisky. I think he needs a fresh start. I think the Bears need to go in a different direction. And as you guys know, if you've been subscribed, the Bears continue to be linked to several quarterbacks, yes, including Carson Wentz. So don't expect Trubisky to be back, but I want to ask you this question. Grade Trubisky's tenure in Chicago. Type your grade. A, B, C, D, or F. Number 2 overall pick. C, C minus. He definitely wasn't a total bust. He was an okay starter. It's not like he was Jamarcus Russell, but considering you traded up for him, not that great overall. I'll give him a C, but overall, not that great. We go to the running back slash fullback position. Ryan Nall, kind of a hybrid there. 26 years old. He's an exclusive rights free agent, 25 years old, excuse me, which means he can be back next year for very, very cheap. We'll see if the Bears opt to bring him back. I would guess they would because we'll see what happens with Tariq Cohen's progress there at running back. Bring him back for cheap. He can be your third or fourth back. You can play him at fullback at times. That is the status on Ryan Nall. Now, the status of your relationship could be good, could be bad. If you want to get out of the doghouse, though, get some flowers at Pro Flowers at chatsports.com/flowers. That link will get you 15% off at checkout. It'll be in the comments and in the description. Look at all the different flower arrangements that are available. Guys, you're only, 6 days away from Valentine's Day? Take advantage of this right now. You go to Pro Flowers at chatsports.com/flowers. You get some flowers, you get some sweets, you can get some combination deals that include both flowers and chocolates. Oh, and they have spa packages as well. Trust me, your wife or girlfriend will be a big fan of that. And hey, they ship it all for you. You don't even have to go out and shop with all the crazies. Just go to chatsports.com/flowers. Get 15% off. Again, that link will be in the comments and in the description. You guys can click and shop today. We go to the wide receiver position now, and obviously all eyes on Allen Robinson this offseason. By the way, speculative emoji season has started as A-Rob has tweeted out a couple of emojis in the last couple of days, so that'll certainly be a free agency to watch. DeAndre Carter's a restricted free agent. He became the punt returner late in the year. We'll see if they bring him back there. Cordero Patterson obviously played some running back, some wide receiver. He's a key free agent as well. Do they want to bring him back? What's his market going to look like? We'll see. He loves playing in Chicago. Dwayne Harris, I don't think he's back. They signed him to replace Ted Ginn Jr. as the punt returner. Got hurt after 2 games. Don't think he'll be back in 2021. Get to work, Ryan Pace. Hashtag sign AR. Spam it in the comments. I want to hear it from you guys. Ryan Pace needs to get off his ass and sign number 12 to a new contract. Hashtag sign AR. I'm going to keep spamming it in the comments. I'm going to keep spamming it on Twitter as well. You guys can tag me in your hashtag sign AR tweets at HGramNFL. I'll retweet you guys. Get to work, Ryan Pace. Bring back your number 1 receiver. The tight end position, a couple of guys here. Demetrius Harris didn't do much this year. 7 catches, 45 yards. I imagine he'll be really cheap. Number 3 type of tight end, so we will see what happens there. J.P. Holt's kind of in the same boat. Actually had 0 catches this year, so exclusive rights free agent, which means, once again, the Bears can bring him back for very, very cheap. I would imagine they pick one of these guys. There's your number 3 tight end, and you roll with that for 2021. Obviously, they have to make a decision on Jimmy Graham as well, but as of now, he is under contract for next season. And he said recently, Graham did, that he wants to retire as a Bear, so maybe they can work something out where he can return in 2021. Get subscribed to the channel. If the Bears trade for a quarterback or do anything crazy or sign one, we're going to cover it here on Chicago Bears Now. Hit that subscribe button. The latest news, rumors around free agency, the draft as well. All kinds of coverage, so go ahead and subscribe today. Offensive line now before we'll shift to the defense here. Four guys here, and we know the Bears' offensive line needs some work. I like the interior, but the tackle position has some issues. Jermaine Ifedi, Jason Spriggs, Rashad Coward, and Alex Bars. Alex Bars is an exclusive rights free agent, which is nice because they'll be able to bring him back for cheap. And he played pretty well down the stretch last year at right guard. Maybe you can slide him out to right tackle. Once James Daniels returns from injury, we'll have to wait and see. I don't care about bringing back Rashad Coward. He sucks. Jason Spriggs, you want to bring him back as a backup tackle, fine. Pick him or Ifedi as a backup. I'm okay with that. But overall, not a lot of strong opinions on these guys other than they got to make decisions at tackle. We'll see what happens with Charles Leno and Bobby Massey, who are still under contract. How should the Bears address their offensive line? Type D for the draft, type F for free agency, type B for both. I'm exploring every avenue there is if I'm Ryan Pace, so I'm going to type my B for both. This is a good draft to find some tackles, though. I will say that. So if I had to pick one, it'd be draft, but I'm typing B for both. You got to address offensive line in any way that you can. All right, let's go to the defensive side of the ball here. Defensive line, five guys here. ROBERTSON-HARRIS, who, if you guys remember, missed most of the season, got banged up. I think he played 4 or 5 games, then missed the rest of the year. Mario Edwards was a great find this year, played pretty darn well. We'll see if he's back. Brent Urban can play inside, can play outside. He did some nice things as well. John Jenkins, Dan McCullers, some big nose tackle types, not really starting caliber. Remember, Eddie Goldman should be back next year after opting out of 2020. So Jenkins and McCullers, I think you could probably let both those guys go if you wanted to. Maybe one's back as a backup. But I think big decisions need to be made on these two guys. ROBERTSON-HARRIS, who's gotten better each and every year. Injury this year kind of stunted his development a little bit. Mario Edwards, I thought he was a good find for the Bears this past season. So if you had to pick one, who you rolling with? Type RRH for ROBERTSON-HARRIS, type ME for Mario Edwards. Obviously, these type of things tend to come down to money, so we'll have to wait and see. But get your votes in if you had to pick one. The linebacker position, 3 guys, Josh Woods, James Vaughters, and Barkevious Mingo. Mingo actually gave this team some pretty good punch this year as a backup, I thought. Woods and Vaughters are exclusive rights free agents, so again, I expect probably one, if not both of them, are back for cheap. They're both youngish players still, especially Woods, who got to play a little bit down the stretch last year once Roquan Smith was banged up. We'll see what they do at linebacker. None of your key linebackers are free agents, which is certainly a very, very good thing. Safety, these 4 guys, a lot of guys. Deion Bush, DeAndre Houston-Carson, Tayshawn Gibson, Sherrick McManus. I think McManus will re-sign on a 1-year deal. He's your best special teams player. Bush and Houston-Carson are good special teamers as well, and Bush served as your 3rd safety last year, so maybe you pick one of those guys to come back. You kind of see where you're at with money, but Tayshawn Gibson's the one guy you got to decide, hey, do we want to bring him back? Because you got him for cheap last year for just over $1 million. Played pretty darn well. 66 tackles, 7 pass breakups, 2 interceptions. One could argue that he played better than Eddie Jackson last year, if not at least on a similar level as Eddie Jackson, who is the 2nd highest paid safety in the NFL. I think a team is going to offer him more than the minimum, which is what the Bears got him at last year because he played much better in 2020 than he did in 2019. So should the Bears re-sign him? Type Y for yes, type N for no. If you can get him at a good deal, I'd like to bring Gibson back. I thought he played well last year, but if someone's going to offer him like $6-7 million, I think you're going to have to let him go. Let me know what you guys think. Y for yes or N for no. The cornerback position, R.D. Burns, remember him? He was competing for that number 2 corner job in training camp, and then he tore his ACL. We'll see what happens here. Maybe a 1-year non-guaranteed deal to return. Obviously, that injury really hurt his status with the Bears and his career after he was coming off a couple of down years anyway. Michael Joseph, another young special teams corner type, exclusive rights free agent. I'd like to bring him back, see what he does in camp, and see if he can compete there. Again, all ERFA guys are very, very cheap, so I would imagine most of those guys who fall under that category are at least in training camp competing for roster spots, and we'll see if they make the team. Those are your 2 free agent corners for the Chicago Bears. And then you got 4 specialists. Remember Eddie Pinheiro? Man, he was supposed to be the kicker, and then Cairo Santos just took the job, so they kind of IR stashed Pinheiro as he was dealing with I believe a hamstring issue. Pat O'Donnell, Patrick Scales, your long snapper and punter. We'll see if they retain those guys. They'll both be very, very cheap, obviously. I think you bring Santos back. If you got to pick one of the kickers, you're not bringing back both. Maybe there's a training camp competition. We'll have to wait and see, but I want to hear it from you guys. Pick a kicker. Type CS for Cairo Santos. Type EP for Eddie Pinheiro. Santos doesn't have the strongest leg, but he was automatic from inside 45 last year and was pretty good from 50-plus as well. I'm typing CS for Cairo Santos. This team's had kicker issues for a while. Those were solved in 2020 because Santos was a revelation. Now that's your 30 free agents for the Chicago Bears. Decisions to be made over the next couple of months, and we'll have you updated on this channel, plus on my Twitter. So give me a follow over there at HGrahamNFL. We'll have tons of coverage all offseason long, both on the channel and on my Twitter. We'll see you very, very soon here on Chicago Bears Now.